Hi, I am Laura Bartow from Studio One Stampers, and I want to welcome you to my number 5 Ideas of Celebration. This time I've selected this beautiful stamp set called A Touch of Ink. And I realized that this stamp set really shines when you use some fun techniques with ink. So I'm going to show you how to do some masking, how to do some watercoloring, how to just get the most out of the inks that you own. And I've got 2 beautiful cards to show you that show you a little bit different techniques. I know you are going to so enjoy getting this A Touch of Ink stamp set. Well, I hope you love the beauty of these cards. The flowers with the hummingbird and the butterfly are just absolutely gorgeous and just makes me think of just the beautiful spring that's coming. These cards both use only ink, which is really fun to show you a couple of fun techniques. We're going to be doing a little bit of masking and a little bit of watercoloring to add some detail to some of these projects. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start off and show you a little bit about this particular card. This card is going to be using a masking technique. We're going to mask these flowers off and come back in and put the leaves in afterwards so that the leaves look like they're behind. But in order to know where to put my flowers and leaves, I do need to get my hummingbird and my greeting stamped first. So let's do that. And you can see that I'm stamping on a padded surface. This surface is our Stampin' Pierce mat, and that's the number for our Pierce mat. It's actually not in our catalog at the moment. It was a last minute addition because it just was so necessary for using with photopolymer stamp sets. So be sure to grab that number and know how to get this. And it's only $5 or $6. It's not a big investment, but it makes all the difference when you're using these clear photopolymer stamps. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get our greeting and our hummingbird placed. I'm just going to scoot these little masks out of the way. And so we'll grab our greeting, and I'm using Melon Mambo. I'm just going to stick that right up in the corner there because I know that I don't want my flowers to come up past there. And then we'll use the black Memento ink and go ahead and get this hummingbird situated. And I think right up in this corner would be a great spot for the hummingbird. Beautiful, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Now it's time to add the flowers. And I'm going to be doing that again with the black Memento ink and inking this up. So I add a flower down here. And I want this to look like the hummingbird is just in heaven. Just can't get enough of these, this pollen or nectar from these beautiful flowers. So I'm going to do that. All right, so you can see by my card that I've got my flowers situated, but now I need to go ahead and put these leaves in. So what I've done is I've created these masks out of Post-it notes, and the way I created them is I made certain that I stamped up here as close as I could to the sticky area of the Post-it note. So way up here at the top, as close as I can, and stamp that. And then I cut that out. And once you cut that out, you have this part being nice and sticky. So that's going to go right over top of my flowers. Now, I didn't have to cut super close or carefully for these particular masks because with the stamp set, the fill-in colors are kind of loose. They're not meant to be exactly right. They're meant to be more artistic and not actually matching perfectly. All right, so now I have that masked and ready to go. I'm going to bring in my old olive ink, and I'm just going to scoot it over here so I can reach it well. And I'm going to bring in the leaf stamp. And so I'm going to ink that up and just go over top, right over top of these flowers. And I want to do this about 3 times. So once there, and then I want another one way up here. I'm kind of looking at my finished product to see where I want those. So I think I want that right about there. Oh, that looks good. And then I'm going to come back in while I still have that mask on and use the fill-in. This is the fill-in stamp that also stamps the leaves. And the fun thing about this is it's sort of a bit of a dot pattern, so it gives you a lighter color. So you can see, even though I've stamped with the same ink, I've got a lighter color coming in here with the filling in the leaves. So there we go with that. And then here's the last one. Kind of have to remember where I place these so I can make certain that I get them right where they're supposed to be. Oh yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, so now I have my leaves in place. I'm going to pull up my masks, set them aside because I can use them over and over again. They're already cut out and they're ready to go, and I'll be using them on the next project as well, so I don't want to put them too far away. All right, so you can see how it's starting to come together. So now I have the white flowers, and now it's time for me to use the Melon Mambo and go in and fill in the flowers. So I'm just going to come in here and match that up, and it doesn't match exactly. It's a very general kind of a shape, which I really like because it makes each flower look a little more unique. And I like that. I like the idea of the flowers looking more artistic and more unique because no two flowers are really quite the same. So we'll go there, and I think this one will go on. Oh, just like that. That looks really good. Well, there we go. Now I've got that pretty well set for myself. And I want to go in and add some color to this hummingbird. We've already got the outline done, and I want to add, this is the stamp that fills in the hummingbird, and I don't want to fill it all in. I just really want to do the belly in yellow. So I'm going to come in with my Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to ink up a little bit of this belly for that. And that's going to go right down here. I've got a little bit of the bottom of the tail feathers as well. And so you can see I've got that. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to do, is just add that in place. So now what I want to do is I want to go to another stamping technique, which is where we do some watercoloring. And what I'm going to do is I want to open up my ink pads now and put some ink refill into the lids of them. Some of them are ready to go already, and some of them need a little bit of ink. Let's see, we'll need the green, and we'll need, and let's see what else we need. The yellow, we need the, oh, and we need the pink. Yeah, we need the pink as well. All right, so the Mambo. So what I like to do is I like to take the ink refills. I recommend that whenever you get an ink pad, you go ahead and get the ink refill. There are so many great things to do with ink, with inks, the ink refills that have nothing to do with re-inking the ink pads, just a technique you can use. So I like to add a little bit of that to each of my the lids of my ink, and then of course if it drips, it just drips right back onto the ink pad and adds more ink to the ink pad, so nothing's lost there. All right, so here we are. So what I want to do is I want to use these aqua painters, and they come 3 in a package. You just fill the barrel up with water, and then you can use any tip you want. I've chosen just a nice pointed tip for today's project because I wanted to really get fine detail on here. So I'm going to start and add some of the green, and I can squeeze a little bit of water out of there. Do you see I got some water there? And I'm just going to mix a lighter color of my green so that I can get a light color for the head of this beautiful hummingbird. And we'll do this back here as well, a little bit more. And I love that I can get all these different colors on here. Now I'm just going to wipe off my brush and then go right into the Bermuda Bay and add some streaks of Bermuda Bay up in here for the wings. Isn't that just gorgeous? And of course the tail feathers, I want those to be brilliant. And you can see that this is a nice contrast to the light muted colors that we have with the stamp set. So I'm going to come back and add a little more green here, and I can kind of make those colors sort of go together a little bit more, and a blend, so I love that. And then I just need to go in and get just a tiny bit of this pink. Not a lot. I'm going to add a little water here because I don't want to overpower my little bird here, but just that throat. I think adding that throat with just a little bit of pink makes it look beautiful. Now I could also go in and add a little bit of pink detail to my flowers. If I want to add a little bit more color in here, I can come in and do that as well. Just giving me one more level of beauty as far as this stamp goes. Not necessary, but you know, when I'm playing, I just can't resist doing just a little bit more. And I also want to come in, I've got to get this red off of here because I want to go into the green. I want to go into this green and add a little bit into these flowers, into these leaves, I mean. So just adding a little bit of life, just one more layer of color in here is just a beautiful way to add to this project. And if there's any little spots that you feel like, oh, I wish that had stamped there, or I'd like to add a little bit more, you can do that here when you bring in the ink. And I brought in Granny Apple here just because I already had the olive on there, and I just wanted to make certain that I had one more really pretty ink color there. So there we go. That's our beautiful card. It's ready to go. It's going to go on a piece of Melon Mambo ink, or cardstock, I mean. And then I've chosen Granny Apple for my card base. So of course I'll fold that in half and use my bone folder to get a nice crease on there. I love getting a nice crease with that. And this card will just go together and be glued down just like that. No dimensionals, nothing. Of course you could if you want to, but isn't that a gorgeous card just using inks? And here's the original one. Look very similar, but a different little garden. All right, let me show you one other beautiful way to use this stamp set. Here's another one. Oh, I forgot to, wait, I've got to go back. I forgot to show you something. Look at the difference here. I didn't even see it myself. I forgot to show you the watercolor wash in there. I want to show you how to add that in. It's so easy. I want to make sure I get in here and get back into this blue. This is the Bermuda Bay, and I want to color in a wash. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot that. But this just adds the most beautiful touch here with this this card. I can't believe I almost forgot my favorite part. And just go in and really light. I want this a real light wash, not dark colors. And again, a wash just means that that the colors sort of blend in there and then fade out. So there we go. Oh, there we go. Now I feel so much better having completed that. Sorry about that. But anyway, you can see how much better it looks now with that little watercolor wash on there. Okay, back to our other card. Here we have this one with the butterfly and the best wishes, and we're going to do the same technique that we did along the side here. As a matter of fact, I probably don't even need to show you how to do that because we're going to do it exactly the same way we did. What I do want to show you is how to do the butterfly. So I'm going to skip showing you that because we just did the whole thing with this other card, but we're not doing a wash on this card. But what I do want to do is I do want to show you a great way to use another stamping technique to get the multicolors in the butterfly. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stamp the butterfly in black Memento ink. So we'll go ahead and stamp that in place. All right, and for my card base here, I would also do what I did before and stamp that right there in the bottom corner where I want it to be. So right there, I put that on my card base as well. But this is, so this is going to be a 2-layer butterfly. So now what I want to do is I want to grab the butterfly stamp that actually fills in the butterfly. And what I want to do is I want to ink that. I'm going to bring this in close so you can see. I want to ink that, so I'm just doing the center of this in yellow. Can you see how I've just got the center in that in yellow? And then I'm going to bring in my Bermuda Bay and I'm just going to do the edges of the wings in Bermuda Bay, and trying not really to overlap the colors. Nothing would really harm if I did, but I'm just trying to get that edge there with the Bermuda Bay. And so you can see I've got the edge there, but there's a line there from where I put the ink in, and I want to soften that up, and I want to add another color. And of course, the color that bridges between yellow and blue is green. So I'm going to take my Granny Apple Green ink here and a sponge dauber. So this is my green sponge dauber. These come, of course, they come all in a set of, I think, 5, and they all have whitish edges on them, but they do begin to use the ink. And so I like to go ahead and take a piece of cardstock, wrap it around my sponge dauber, so I know that that one is dedicated to green and that I won't get it mixed up or anything. They are a little bit washable, but I really like to have them dedicated to the colors that I'm using. So you can see I'm coming in here and adding that green in and daubing it on here. And now you can see I have a spectrum. You'll see much better once I get this stamped on here. So this one again is one of those, it goes a little bit outside the lines, which is just fine. But I want to stamp that on there. There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? That is so pretty. And what's fun about this is now I can cut it out. And once I cut it out, I can put it on my card. We'll pretend we have the flowers there, and I'll be putting my greeting right there. I'll take the dimensionals off of this one. And you can see when I cut it out, I did not try to cut around the antenna and all the legs. I have that already stamped on here. So when I match this up, it actually gives a 3-dimensional look where I've got the butterfly, and then the detail of the antenna and legs are right there for you. So you can see how we made a beautiful card. I hope that this Touch of Ink stamp set is one that you will treasure and love for years to come.